Hello, my name is Pastor Betty Clark, and this is June 19th, 2022. People are celebrating Juneteenth all around the country. It is a celebration that should never have had to happen. The Emancipation Proclamation on January the 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln said slavery would be abolished in all rebellious territories, with two conditions. Efforts to colonize or remove former slaves to a separate territory would continue, and loyal slaveholders would be compensated for the loss of their property. In other words, the slaveholders would get reparation because they were losing their property. That was us. So on June 19th, 1865, Galveston, Texas received the news that they had been freed since January the 1st, 1863. That should not be a celebration. Why should we celebrate something that was taken from us? 2 years was taken from over 250,000 slaves. Abraham Lincoln had already ratified and signed the 13th Amendment by the time Galveston, Texas got the news that they were freed 2 years earlier. But the Emancipation Proclamation didn't free all the slaves. It only freed the slaves in the states that did not secede from the Union. No, it only freed the slaves in the states that did secede from the Union in order to cripple the Confederate Army. And Abraham Lincoln said that all able-bodied men, or all able-bodied slave men, were to be enlisted into the Union Army to fight. That did not go well for us. For many of our soldiers in the Union Army were killed, shot, not just in a battle, but as one group was surrendering to the Confederacy and being taken as prisoners of war. The Confederate military, the Confederate general said, "We don't take slaves as prisoners of war." So he had them all shot. Abraham Lincoln and the 13th Amendment did not free all the slaves either. The slaves that were African Americans slaves who were in prison were not free. And they never have been since. It's in the 13th Amendment that these prisoners would remain slaves. And because of that, that was a gift to the South. That they could then get slaves from prison to work for free on their plantations. That's still happening today. We have to know our history. Kentucky and Missouri. That's the state. Kentucky and Missouri rebelled against having their slaves freed, even with the 13th Amendment. And so, especially in Kentucky, black codes were enacted. Indentured slavery was made into law. And if a slave or ex-slave, African American, was shot and killed by a white person with only black witnesses, there was no trial because there had to be a white witness. There was no white witness, it wouldn't go to trial. Kentucky even challenged the constitutionality of the courts and prevailed. All contacts required white witness because the federal courts said, okay, we will have these cases tried in a federal court. That did not require that stipulation. But Kentucky challenged that and won. And so all of the trials, especially if it was against a black person or some atrocity had been done to a black family, it wouldn't go to court unless there was a white witness. The black codes were enacted. Slave codes were enacted. And there's still those codes today. One of the black codes says that if a black person is standing on the corner for more than 3 minutes, they can be arrested. And then they're sent to prison. And one young man, about 13 years of age, the youngest in his family, happened to be waiting for someone to pick him up, and he was standing on the corner. Police came by and picked him up, arrested him. He was to get 30 days for loitering. Within that 30 days, they had put another penalty on him. And because he was a slave, they sent him out to work on a plantation. He never got his freedom. He died as a slave. Marcus Garvey said, a people who don't know their history, don't know their legacy, they're like a tree without roots. Our history, our legacy, not just in this country, but all the way back to the Garden of Eden, goes deep. Our roots on the tree has to go deep to hold the tree upright. Our roots are deep. But if you don't know that, and if you don't know your history, a tree without roots will fall. And a person without roots will fall. It's a story about an old man from Suma. And they said to the old man, where is your people? And he was the only one left. He said they forgot their story, and so they died. We've got to remember our story and stop falling for the celebration and the exploitation. Since Juneteenth has become a national holiday, you can go online and you can buy all kinds of things. You can get all kinds of, and you look and see who's really selling them. It has become a money-making holiday for people who don't look like us. Exploitation on our celebration. Let's stop celebrating and start commemorating, remembering, getting the history, knowing our history, and then placing it where others can know our history. Because in celebration, we forget who we are. Thank you.